All right, welcome to this self-reflection session. This one's a little different than our previous ones, for we are outside at a campfire in rural Wisconsin, and it is actually like 25 degrees out here. But by the fire, it's just a tad warmer as the smoke is in my face. But I love being out here in nature. I love just being in nature, and that's one thing. It's so easy to just be when we're in nature, and I love coming here. Kind of a main pillar of my philosophy that I live is humans are meant to be in nature or with each other. And many know that I live in the city. I live a very cosmopolitan life, I will say, but I equally enjoy this, just being alone in nature. And there's something about fire, like I could sit here for just 2 hours and do nothing except be by this fire. I love it. And so I thought this would be kind of a cool setting for our session today. Now, we will do about, I don't know, until it gets dark, 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And I guess before we do that, why don't we take a minute to just breathe, right? Now, I don't have a timer, so let me go get one. This one will be, instead of 5, let's just do 3. And just because we're running out of daylight here, folks. All right, we got 3 minutes. And we're just gonna breathe. All right. So that was 3 minutes. I had a fire yesterday. It was actually a lot better. It was warmer, but it was also colder today. So I don't know. Yeah, let's begin. Let's think and write. First question. What is as I grab a pen, one of like 3 that I have in my pocket. Okay. So what is something for you, something in nature for you that you feel at peace, right? Like what kind of nature do you prefer that makes you feel relaxed and that you kind of seek out so that you can just be, you know? So to kind of make that more brief, where in nature do you feel you can just be? I think in order to be knew I was missing something. These rings. I think in order to be our whole self and to kind of, as like an animal being, I think we either need to be in nature or with each other or get degrees of each. I mean, when we think about evolutionary biology, the reason why we are here and existing in this world we created is that because our cognitive abilities as an animal allow us to communicate and work together, to collaborate, to envision things that don't exist and make them reality. But a core of us is still so much part of the earth, right? We are still animals that evolved over years and years and years. And so I think that those are 2 core tenets of us as a species, right? Like we're still animals, and as animals, we should lean more towards nature rather than artificial. And we're social. Be with each other. This is probably one of my worst fires that I've ever made, which is unfortunate because it's it's colder outside, and I could really use a little bit more fire. What we need is some gasoline. I was shooting some basketball out at the barn earlier today, and it was remarkable to me how I started off and my fingertips were all numb and I was cold, just like blowing up my hands to get them warm, and then really like maybe 13 minutes in, I just kind of became warm and my fingers weren't numb anymore, and I shot around for like 40 minutes. Usually I'm around like 26, I would say, just to like, get the body moving. That was interesting. Anyways, okay, let's go to another question. I'd like you to think about... Oh, my coffee fell over. How tragic. I want you to think about your consumption habits. Something that's on my mind lately is just the American culture of consumption. Seems like everything kind of ends up at this point of like one of our biggest purposes as Americans is almost to consume. I'm recording this on Black Friday, so it's on my mind, but also like when I was in Paris not long ago. By stepping out of your country, it's almost like you get a broader view of your entire country and culture. And it's like we can never be happy with just what we have. And American culture, it's about just working super hard. Work all the time. And because you work all the time, you don't have time. So instead, you replace like quality time with just materials, possessions to make us happier. That's the culture in America. And I don't know if enough people are conscious of it. Our whole kind of existence as Americans in culture is to be productive, right? Productive to a culture that produces a lot. So if we work all the time and then you feel guilty if you're not working or being productive, we're all a product of our environments or culture, how we were kind of groomed to think. And for us, it's like always working, always working, always working. But then we have money to buy things. But oftentimes, we find ourselves lacking in time, and we make up for that void that feeling by buying things to make us feel good. And it does feel good for a while, and then it wears off, right? And then you're stuck with all this stuff. And then that money could have been used for something different. So then you got to work more to get more money. You know, it's interesting, but yeah, I would like you to think about your consumption habits with material possessions. Like, what things do you buy? How does it make you feel? I have some napkins here. Watch this. Watch it glow up now. It's a little hotter. Yeah, think about our consumption habits. Oh yeah, let me see. This feels good. Yeah, this is better. Yeah, that's something that comes up In American culture, we work all the time. And it's so much part of our culture that you feel bad about yourself if you are not being productive. And it's like it constantly is on our mind. And so we do work all the time. And to feel better, we often use our money on material things because it does provide us, some excitement, happiness. But then it wears off, and we have all these things, and then we got to work more for more money to buy things. It's kind of like this fire, right? I got to keep putting wood on to keep it going. Right? And materials aren't bad. Material things aren't bad at all. But it's a matter of knowing what you want and being intentional about the things that you do want to have around you, so that you can say no. So you can say no to all the many options that present themselves to you. Something I do with consumption, I only wear 4 colors, 4 or 5-ish colors. Navy blue, dark red, brown, gold, kind of like a beige-ish, maybe, grayish. That's about it. And so most of my possessions, clothes in particular, if it's not in that framework, then it's just a hard no. Because we can get emotional with consumption decisions, but by having kind of a guideline that I've already have agreed to and have put in place, then it makes those decisions easier. And that's how we want that's one of the results or outcomes of self-reflection, is that you know more so who you are, what you want, so that you can develop frameworks for yourself to live in. Boundaries, but they're not restricting, they're actually freeing. Boundaries can provide freedom. So you self-determine what boundaries you want to create for yourself, so that you can live within those. Otherwise, then everything is on the table and you get overwhelmed, right? So it's kind of like with consumption and material possessions, right? If you go into a store and you don't, you're open to everything, then it's just chaos, right? But if you know what you're looking for, you can go and do those or buy those things. Building boundaries, creating boundaries for yourself to live and play within, right? Key word there is play, like play. How many times do you hear that when talking about life? Playing life. Life is a game, life is a game. Life can be really enjoyable because you've already determined how you want to play it in a way, right? So when you play, you can be more free. A lot of coaches will talk about that. They want players to be loose, relaxed, calm, so that they can just be, they can just play when they're out there and they're not overthinking all the time. That's kind of how we want to approach life, and these self-reflection exercises are designed for that, right? Just to get you to think a little bit more about yourself and your habits and where you want to go, your purpose. I'm just gonna enjoy this fire right here, and fire is fire is often the end and also the beginning. Fire is oftentimes the ending and becomes the beginning of life. Practice. Let's talk about practice. What's a habit that deep down you know your life would be more positive if you got better at this habit? So think and or write about that habit. Now think about how you can make practice of that easier. How can you make practice easier and perhaps fun? Often when you're having fun, you're not thinking. That could be, depending on the situation and scenario, it could be a good or a bad thing, or nothing. I don't know. Or time will reveal if it's a good or bad thing. Practice. What would you like to practice more? Let's put some more leaves on. We are the habits that we practice. Our present was determined by all the small decisions we made prior to this. Our future present will be the same, as far as it will be the result of all the small actions that we take. So we want to think and be intentional about the habits that we have and are building and are improving. I've had a lot of practice building fires, and I am a little disappointed in this one. This one's not great, but we can practice again. I think that's something beautiful about practice, is that, or life, is that perfection doesn't exist, but we can always strive for it, and we can be objective to, did we reach it? No? Well, let's practice some more. We can always find things to improve, but not get down on ourselves of that we didn't reach it, Just an opportunity to get better. I was talking with my 93-year-old grandma, and something she always mentioned is attitude. Attitude and positivity. I think that's what really keeps her alive, or has kept her alive, kept her going this long. Like, every day being grateful, but having an attitude of can-do-ness, that, you know, everything is possible, everything, you know, we can make everything work. I think that goes a long way. I think that's something we don't really discuss. We often talk about I don't know, like on the surface things, but we don't go much further as to why. Or if we're talking about results, we're trying to achieve results. It starts with kind of our mind and our mental components of performing. Performance is often determined by our mindset. And if we don't have a great attitude, it's not going to be conducive for us being in the right mental framework to perform well or live life, right? Heading back to the city after this recording, the session. So I like to just kind of soak it all in, just kind of be here. Just enjoy it. Some guys hauling wagons with their trucks.